Careful with this drink here.
Sweet.
Yes.
You want to do more, but then you realise you strap yourself.
Right. Only one picture, it's not like walking back.
Ready to roll?
Yes.
You come in?
Stay Chatzil says Mishnah, we need to get going because it's a long daf.
Yes, long day for the short day.
Yeah, Stay Chatzil Zulif the Mizu. We're going to discuss on about this case. Let's get the case clear. Oh, man. What's the case? Get the case clear because we talk about it a lot. Two courtyards, one in front of, one in behind the other, where the only way to get out to the Mavi, to the cul-de-sac, is to go through what?
We've had this before.
We've had this many times before. I'm going to have it many times again. There are three shittahs, the mice, the maskana, but just get it clear. The inner one, if they make an Eiruvin by themselves, that is clear that they're allowed to carry within the inner one, because nobody's ever going to go through. The problem is, what happens if the outer one make an Eiruvin? 5 families in outer, 5 families in inner. The 5 outer families made an Eiruvin together, but they didn't include the inner ones. There are 3 shittahs. One shittah is we don't care, meaning at the end of the day they made an Eiruvin together. The people can walk through. It doesn't mean that they've got a right to the chotzer, and therefore there's another shittah that we always care, and that we say that you can never carry an outer until you include the inner. You can't carry an outer. Why not? Because since they've got a right of way to walk through it.
We make a Eiruvin the chotzer.
No, because everybody owns the chotzer. Because let's say we 5 live around the chotzer, so we all have a share in the chotzer. Here they've only got a right to walk through it. So there's one shittah that we don't care about them at all. One shittah is that it's always awesome. And the third shittah goes somewhere in between. And it says like this, that when the inner ones made their own Eiruvin, so therefore they are considered regel hamuteres. It's a complicated thing. Regel hamuteres means a foot which is permitted to carry in its own area, because they made an Eiruvin for themselves.
No.
So the fact that they can walk through another area does not make it awesome. But if they did not make an Eiruvin inside, so then they are called regel asura, a foot which is awesome, meaning people which cannot carry in their own domain. Since they can't carry in their own domain, in their own area, therefore they can now answer the people that they walk through. So it depends whether the inner ones made an Eiruvin or not, as to whether the outer ones are able to carry or not. So we have 3 shittahs. We've got to clear Moshe the 3 shittahs.
Only 2 of them.
Right, so let's see if the Mishnah. Shtechat says if the Mizu Irva Apnimis, the inner one made an Eiruvin le'Irva Achitzona. Apnimis muteres, Achitzona asur. Achitzona, the outer one made an Eiruvin le'Apnimis, Shtein asur. Why? Because the inner one didn't make an Eiruvin, the outer one, they walk through it. They each make their own Eiruvin. Zu muteres if they ask for, Zu muteres if they ask for. If they each make their own Eiruvin, they're both mutter. No, because he holds the regular muteres, this Tana, holds does not answer when you have a right of way to walk through the outer. No. So it's answer. Again, let's just get it clear again. You've got the inner and outer. If the outer don't make an Eiruvin, of course they can't carry. If the inner make an Eiruvin, they can carry between themselves. If the outer make an Eiruvin and the inner can walk through, there are 3 shittahs. Shittah number 1 is we don't care. Just because they can walk through doesn't make a problem. Shitta number 2 is on the other extreme, that of course it's a problem and you can never carry an outer because the inner can walk through until you make a one big joint Eruv. Shitta number 3 is it depends. If they made an Eruv on the inside, since they made an Eruv on the inside, so therefore they are people who are considered permitted because they made an Eruv. Permitted people don't have the ability to make an Eruv also. But if they did not make an Eruv on the inside, then they can't, therefore they're considered forbidden people, and therefore they do us on the outside. It says the Gemara, it says if one of the outer ones forgot to make an Eruv, but the inner ones didn't, why? Because we don't care about the outer one not making an Eruv. The inner one made its own Eruv. If one of the inner ones forgot to make Eruv, they're both awesome. Why are they both awesome if just one person in the inner Eruv forgot to make an Eruv? Very good. Did you hear that? Because if the inner one forgot, if one of the inner ones forgot, so now the inner ones don't have an Eruv. Once the inner ones don't have an Eruv, and they still have a right of way, so now they're called Regel or Asur. Somebody who's forbidden in his own Rishus. Somebody who's forbidden in his own Rishus can ask for the next Rishus. If they put the Eruv in the outer Chotzer, the Gemara explained that both us because they put the Eruv on the outside. Meaning, if one person owns the inner Chotzer and one person owns the outer Chotzer, nobody needs to make an Eruv at all. Why? The inner one doesn't need to make an Eruv, it all belongs to one owner. The outer one doesn't need to make an Eruv, it belongs to one owner. Oh, the inner one's got a right to walk through the outer. So why don't you have a problem because of that? What's the answer? The inner one belongs to one person, the outer one belongs to one person. The inner one is going to walk through. Neither of them need to make an Eruv on their own, but the inner is going to walk through the outer. So why don't they? The answer is because Regel HaMuteres, since the inner one does not need to make an Eruv, so therefore in his own area he's considered Regel HaMuteres, a person who's permitted to carry in his own area. He's allowed to carry in his own area. But once a person is allowed to carry in his own area, he does not forbid even the area that he walks through. That's only one time. Yes, right. Says the book, that regel which is permitted is forbidden. Let's get to clear the expressions. What does Regel HaMuteres mean? What does Regel HaMuteres mean? Regel HaMuteres means somebody who is permitted to carry in his own area. Regel HaMuteres b'mkomo. Shaloi b'mkomo means in the area that it walks through. So if Dibi says that a regel which is muteres b'mkomo, which is allowed to carry in his own house, in his own chotzer, is seres shaloi b'mkomo. That it never asks. Now, Rav Dimi did not make 3 shittas out of it. He only made 2 shittas, both extremes. One extreme that it always makes it no good, and one extreme makes it always that it is okay. What the Gemara is now going to do is bring loads of kashas to prove that there's actually an in-between shitta. That's what the Gemara does, but it takes time. Because what happens is each time the Gemara manages to kvetch us in, till eventually the Gemara says, no, it doesn't. It's not. Who's this shitta? Why did we talk about when they never made an Eruv? Talk about when they made an Eruv, it's also, and it's only because they never made an Eruv on the inside, that's why they can't carry it outside. Mishnah saying it's 2 chedushim. Not only in the case where it's asur b'mkomo, but even when it is muteres b'mkomo, it's also asur shlei b'mkomo. Then Irva zulas Talmud the Irva only because it made an Eruv, lo Irva shtei nasuros. Is a right that a regular asur b'mkomo, asur shlei b'mkomo. Why Tana to regular muteres says regular asur is seres. And this Tana obviously holds that when it's mutter in its own rishus, it doesn't ask the next rishus. When it's also this rishus, it does ask the next rishus. Mani ho. Ilim Rabbi Kiva, I feel like Rabbi Teres Nami, he always holds it's also. Elelav upon here, it's just chachamim that when it's also b'mkomo, it's asur shlei b'mkomo. Word with the Sefer Rabbi Kiva, Reisha Lav Rabbi Kiva. If you can be medayik at the end of the Mishnah, Rabbi Kiva comes along and the shitta is a right that the Reisha is not Rabbi Kiva. Says the Gemara. Kolo Rabbi Akiva here, this whole Mishnah is Shittas Rabbi Akiva, v'chsor mechsa v'chigitani. This I have to read the Mishnah. That if they each make their Eruv, it is mutter. Only if he makes a fence and a gate between the 2 chatzevers, that way it is showing that it's not planning to walk through. והחיצונו אסור. דברי רבי עקיבא, שרבי עקיבא איסס החיצונו ודברי רגל לא יסרס. והחכמים אומרים אין דברי רגל לא יסרס. Meaning that we're fitting in the concept of Dimi. If Dimi wants to say there's only two shittas. The shittas of Rabbi Akiva that says that come what may, a person who can walk through somebody else's chotzer makes it awesome. And shittas chachamim that say always it's okay, regardless of whether the person is allowed to carry within in his own nushus. It says, you don't need to make an Erev. Or shall Rabim Sichin Arav. Regular Muteris became any cells. Regular Asur cells. It depends whether you're allowed to carry, whether you're not allowed to carry. That if one of the in the ones forgot, it's both also. Tamu does shochach or lo shochach shten mutoris. Regular Muteris no cells. Regular Asur cells. So you see that a veg which is mutter does not asa. Only a veg which is asur asas. The veg which is mutter in its own rishus doesn't asa. The regular asur iseres. Even the veg which is mutter has the ability to asa the next rishus. That means you have to differentiate the Mishnah into three different shittas, not like of dimus, and there's only two. And shittas of Akiva is that it's always asas. That if a person walks through somebody else's chotzer, regardless of whether he's allowed to carry his own rishus or not, he asas on the next rishus. Just on the next one. Just on the next one. Shittas chachamim is Tanakama, sorry, is that only if it is mutter in his rishus is allowed, it doesn't asa. But if it's os in his rishus, it does asa. And the chachamim, they permit it in all cases. Right. Now here we have what's called a simon. The Gemara many times brings simonim. Not always is it clear what the simonim are for, but the Simon is fine that the simonim are part of the Gemara. And there are sforim written to explain exclusively what the simonim mean. This particular simon is not an easy one to explain. Sometimes it's very easy to understand what the Gemara is trying to say. The only way to explain this is to say that this simon was put in the wrong place. And that the simon was supposed to be put earlier. And he said like this, Simon chitzena atzma beisichito avinu de mashach b'fnim. And it's all the questions we had on Rav Dimi, which we quoted earlier. Rav Dimi said there's only two opinions. We had a few questions. If you remember, the first question we asked was from the Brisa that says chitzona. Then the next one where it said ilvo zula atzmo. Then the next one which it said Rabbayis Echido, and it's a remes to Rav Bibi. Bayis is similar to Rav Bibi, who asked a kasha from the word Yechido. Then Ravina asked the next question, that you can't find a case here. Where's the case? That one of them forgot. One of them forgot, and it's going back with Bifnim, that we talk about one of them on the inside forgot. That's the way to explain this. Okay. But we're not going to this Gemara, is going to the previous Gemara. It's all kashas on the team. The Mishnah says that if you put the Eruv in one place and then one of them forgot it, then it's all asa. So Gemara says, what is this one place? Why is it called the single place? The inner chotzer is only permitted by who? Who goes in the inner chotzer? Only the inner people. The chitzona, everybody goes through. So the chitzona is a place which is unique in the sense that everybody has a right. So if you put the Eruv in the outer one, then what happens? Then even if somebody on the inside forgets, they're all forbidden. Why? What's the svar? Because once you put the Eruv on the outer one, what you're showing is that we're all one big chotzer. And if one of us forgets, so it's as if we're all joined together, one of us forgets, therefore we're all lost. Oh, you can't do bitter. The Mishnah discussed, but you didn't do bitter. Yeah, sorry, turn the page. We learned it by saying, if you put the Eruv in the outer one, we put it in the inner, and one on the inside forgot, why are they awesome? If one on the inside forgot, you put the Eruv on the inside. If you put the Eruv on the outside, right. It means like this. It's quite complicated. Let's get it clear. If you put the Eruv on the outside and somebody forgets, of course it's also why, because everybody's got a right of way, and now the one somebody's forgot, it's one big happy plan, it doesn't work. If they put the Eruv on the inside, one of them forgets, it's also no good. Why is it no good? The answer is like this. Once one of the people on the inside forgets, so now the inside people, are they allowed to carry? No, because one of the people on the inside forgot. So let's say we have 5 on the inside, there's another 5 on the outside. Once one of the people on the inside forgets, so the people on the inside cannot carry. Once they cannot carry, and they still have a right of way to go through the outside, so what are they considered? A person who's forbidden in this place. A person forbidden in this place is also not in the wrong place. So therefore, in this case, what do you say? We can just close off the door and live in on the inside. Now we take a dash with the shamash. What happens is when you've got an Eruv, you consider as if we're all together. Magilo means we've got used to the idea of walking together. I joined you for my sake. But over here, not to destroy me, not for my problems. It's a halacha that whatever person, if I ask you to do a shlichus, and you go and do the shlichus in a way which only causes me harm, I can say that that kind of shlichus I never wanted. So also over here, so that means you can say that that the machlokes, whether you can now cancel the whole bittul, where you can still do bittul, is whether you can do bittul with shus l'shus, b'chotz l'chotz. According to Rabbi Akiva, you can't, and therefore the people on the inside can't do a bittul for the people on the outside. They can, and therefore the people on the inside will still be able to carry. It says, well, the machlokes we had previously, where they allowed to bittul b'chotz l'chotz, is the same machlokes of Akiva and Bono, because we see over here that argue about bittul b'chotz l'chotz. When did Rabbi Akiva say that you're allowed to do that? You're not allowed to do bittul b'chotz l'chotz because they ask each other. Since they don't answer, so therefore, sorry, when do Akiva say you can't do bittul? Sorry, when do Akiva say you can't do bittul b'chotz l'chotz? Because they answer. By shaking over here where they don't answer, because Shmuel was talking about the situation not where they one inside the other, but rather what was the machlokes Shmuel and Rabbi Yehuda? Do you remember what was the machlokes Shmuel and Rabbi Yehuda about bittul b'chotz l'chotz? Is when they're adjacent to each other, and each one's got access to the mavoi, but they also have access to each other. So therefore, therefore they can't do. That till you mevatel, you're asking. So therefore, I don't want you. Meaning that since you're asking me, therefore I prefer not to have what to do with you, in order that I should be able to then continue to carry my own reshus. It's not asking. Therefore, since they're not asking, therefore it is no good. Right. Okay. Should we leave it here? Is everything a bit of a rush? Okay. Okay, we'll leave it here. Should we leave it here? Okay, we'll leave it here. We'll leave it here. Okay, because the vice is not restricted out as well. Like, I might as well have more people. So can you? Oh, tell everybody it's 8 o'clock. You might think it's 8 o'clock. Because it's of course now earlier than last week.
And next week it's also going to be 8 or going to be earlier?
Why? It depends on responding. It depends. So let's say 8 o'clock, and also you should text everybody where we got up to the 2 dots, about 50 lines.